You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kermison, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kermison, joined with Reed Bacon. Got another great one. I'm going to be talking about QB1, giving a little season prediction, and talking a little bit about Syracuse. Before we get into that, if y'all are watching, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download. It helps us so much, so please keep doing that. And follow us on all social medias. Everything is below in the description. Very excited to get into this. See what we turn out in our season prediction. But first, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Ah!
There's the first one of the season right there.
I mean, it is freaking game week, and your boy is juiced.
Yeah, I'm very excited for football to be back.
I watched yesterday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched a good amount of Kansas State and Iowa State, and I didn't get to watch. I would have probably watched it from start to finish, but Megan's mom had a bunch of people over to her house for Megan's uncle's birthday. So we went over there, did that. We had to, I enjoyed it, socialized, but I did have to sneak away for a few minutes, pull YouTube TV up on the phone, check it out, watch it. And then last night I had to check in on the UNLV game, which was kind of funny because that was Dan Mullen's first game at UNLV, and they were a 30-point favorite against Idaho State, and they were in a dogfight. I mean, it was like streaming in a high school game. You had to get it on Amazon Prime. And so I had to pull it up and watch it there. And then after that, I watched the ending of the Stanford and Hawaii game, which was a very entertaining game. Very entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed it, watched it till the end. And so don't let me forget, I got some high school football on Friday night. I watched Alcoa and Maryville, which was a super, super fun and enjoyable game.
Always good between those two.
That Alcoa team, I'm not kidding. That Alcoa team is one of the biggest teams, top to bottom, I've probably seen in high school in this area. Linemen, running backs, receivers, everything. I mean, everything. They were big, but of course, Maryville hung around, had a chance to win it at the end. But Alcoa pulled it out, so that was a fun one to watch. And then I didn't get to watch it, but I kept up with it. And I'll be honest, I did not expect Catholic to go to Middle Tennessee and beat Riverdale, and they put it on them. So I was thoroughly pumped and excited when I saw that. So
that's great. I mean, just talking ball, it gets me juiced.
Oh, yeah. And Friday night, I had to watch. I was flipping between Maryville and Alcoa and the Titans preseason. So this was as good of an appetizer as you can get. I mean, this wasn't just bringing some bread to the table, which I love bread to the table. So calm down. So this is bread to the table, and it's good bread and good butter, and then it is maybe some spinach queso dip, some wings. Hell, this might have been considered a salad. We got
to get some mozzarella sticks in there too.
Yeah, that's more Megan. You're in Megan's speed is mozzarella sticks and potato skins. I'm not more of the cheese. I'm more of the bread. But damn, it was awesome, and I am juiced to watch Tennessee.
I'm so excited.
I'll be in Memphis, so you know what that means. I get it like you. I don't have to. I get an hour earlier. 11.
Oh yeah, 11. Yeah, it's great.
I mean,
knock it out,
dude! Incredible waking up and just being able to get there right at it.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think Central Time Zone might be the best.
Oh, it's
just getting used to Eastern Time Zone, growing up in Eastern Time Zone, and then you just get an extra hour. It's a game changer.
It is there's not an argument for someone who's lived in both.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I've lived in both for multiple years. There's no question. No question. Central Time Zone is undefeated. It is the GOAT of all goats. On even Sundays, like I would get out of Mass if I go to 11 o'clock Mass. Titans starting. I would be getting in the car at Holy Family in Brentwood, and it's been a few years, so I can't remember if they had a 9 and then an 11 or an 8 and 10. But I honestly think they had an 11. So I would be getting in my car, leaving Holy Family after Mass, and already Mike Keith would be talking the Titans. So it was like I was like driving home, listening to it.
Gotta get to a screen.
Yeah. So
I mean, every prime time game on the East Coast, it's like it's starting at fucking 8:45, dude.
Dude,
like,
brutal.
It's just so late. It's brutal.
This is a good tie-in. Real quick before we jump into everything else. I've always been a night owl. I will probably always be a night owl. But since bacon junk removal was started, your boy has just, especially this summer, we're busier. I'm out in the sun a lot, doing a lot of jobs, and I love it. But your boy comes, and it's after working, doing junk removal in the heat, and then going to working out, and then coming home, showering, and eating.
Done.
I've been going to bed I've been in bed by 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I've been asleep probably by 10:30, which I used to be up till 11:30, 12:30, no problem. Because it was just
once you like your job changes and it's physical labor, you're a different kind of tired.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. It truly is. And then you know that you need your energy for the next day, because it's not just, I can stay up late and run on 6 hours because I'm just sitting at a desk or on my couch or at my desk right here on a laptop. It's not, but there was last Tuesday, had a pretty long day with jobs. And then I went and worked out, and Tuesday's usually my hardest day of working out. It's legs and cardio. And then I mowed the yard, and I kid you not, after I mowed the yard, showered, ate, it was like 7:40. I could have gone to bed then.
Yeah. Just like, see you, babe. Like, I got to lay down.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, bacon junk removal, give us a call. We're here. We're very appreciative of any opportunity we get. Kyler, tell me about your weekend.
Good weekend so far. I mean, nothing major to report. Mowed the lawn for the first time in a few weeks because last week was grandma's birthday. Week before that, came and saw you. So I had it grew a little bit. I literally got like a blister on my hand from like pulling it and pushing it and pulling it and pushing it. So it was a tough one. But very happy that I got it done. It always feels better once the lawn is mowed and it looks clean. Always feels a lot better.
Was it not a jungle?
It was a little bit.
Y'all have a fence. You have a fence though, right? So it kind of hides it.
Yeah. We got a tall fence around everything, so it's fine.
It's not looking like a jungle over there or a trap house.
Nothing like it was when we freaking bought the house. I mean, it was, dude. There were weeds that were like 10 feet tall. I kid you not.
Wow.
It was crazy. So, yeah, that's fine. And then I also take care of like the little grass strip on the sidewalk too, outside of our house. So, getting that done.
Okay, I'm gonna jump into my quote here, but while I write it down, we're gonna go ahead and pop that thing down. I'm assuming QB1. I'm not assuming. I know QB1 was not a surprise for you.
True.
But you got to see Joey in a scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're not necessarily even surprised that he's the winner because of what you saw, but also I think you and I both know how much Heupel loves his older guys. And the one good thing is Joey has played a lot of college football.
Yeah.
But just give me your overall thoughts on everything with QB1.
No, I mean, I think I'm allowed to, talk about it a little bit more, but at the scrimmage, it's like, Merck was struggling a little bit during the scrimmage, and I just saw kind of a commanding presence from Joey. Like, hey, I'm a leader. Hey, I'm running the offense. Hey, guys, follow me. I'm going to take you into the battlefield kind of vibe from him. So, that's what told me the most is like, oh, okay. Like, I see it from him. And that comes from the experience. I think going into it, it was very much like, hey, Joey's 1 right now. Merck is 2. And we'll kind of see what happens. It's still open. I'm still going to give you the same amount of reps. I'm still going to let you play with the talented guys too, because that was something that not always happens when you're having a quarterback competition. You're like, hey, go run with the 1s and you run with the 2s. And then it's like the second string quarterback gets sacked every third play,
right.
Or wide receivers drop his balls. He doesn't have any touchdowns on the day because no one's getting open. It's like kind of unfair. But like I described in that scrimmage, they rotate everybody. They do, you have our starting tackle, like quote unquote starting tackles in for you, and then like maybe the second string interior guys, and just like rotate. Oh, you have the first string tight end, you have the second.
It's
now
not
it's just like, hey, I want everybody to get a shot here. But I think Joey did enough of his play, and then also of just like his experience, his knowledge base, his leadership, where it's like, okay, here's our guy. But the great thing is, and what we've seen from Heupel in the past, is it don't freaking matter who starts the season, okay? Anybody can get beat out. Anybody can get replaced. If you perform well, if you do a good job, you're in. So everybody's got to stay ready. I want Merck to be just in case a rolled ankle, hard hit to the head. Like, you don't know when your shot's going to be. But excited to have Joey in there. We'll see what he does. The gunslinger. I think it's almost a nice like difference of what we're used to. I think the quarterbacks that we've had over the years, Hendon, being the guy that he was, but Joe being a little inconsistent, and then us feeling like, hey, he's got an arm, but there's not the accuracy, and he is not a gunslinger. Okay. Then you had Nico, and he is not a gunslinger. He's not, hey, I'm throwing this thing. I'm doing all this stuff. No, he was the guy to like, I'm going to keep control of the ball. I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to try and run if I don't have anything open. And it's like, now we got some exciting football. Jameis Winston in the NFL kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Like 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Do not say that. Do not say that.
It's not going to be to that extent because Jameis had the longest leash in the world that season, and he really could throw 30 interceptions and nothing would happen. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun to have Joey back there and take the shots when we get them, because there's a lot of times last year the shots never got taken, and it's like, let's try and complete some of these.
So you hit on multiple really good points there. I'm the command of the offense, just the whole vibe. I'd love to hear that. I know you had mentioned that once you had gone to the spring. Number two, I think it is fabulous that you've mentioned, hey guys, Joe Milton was named the starter in 2021. I'm sorry. In 2021, he was named the starter, gets injured, misses his. It very much that first, what felt like the first 5 to 10 minutes. I know it was more like an actual quarter, but that first little bit of that first pit game with Heupel, it was it was not a metaphor, but it was foreshadowing of what to come. Yeah. Joe's in there, Heupel's dialing it up. Joe's not hitting it. He goes down. Hendon comes in, takes takes the bull by the horns, runs with his opportunity, finishes out 2021, plays 2022 until he gets injured. And it's like, I think that is just such a great point by you. I personally was not even thinking about it. Ever since the spring, and I did that one podcast by myself of kind of like, hey, what I'm looking for out of the orange and white game, I had mentioned I want to see what the backup quarterbacks were going to look like, because whether it was Nico at the time and he bums an ankle or hits his head against Mississippi State or whatever the case may be, we saw the backup quarterback multiple times last year for stints. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, we got Nico going in, like who's going to be there when he goes down for whether it's a game or a series. And so then he transfers out, and now it's Joey, and it's very much of, and I'm not the only one to say that, or to say this, multiple people have said, hey, you're probably going to see multiple quarterbacks this year. I hope that's not the case, because if it is, that means there's an injury or someone struggling. So I hope it's Joey from start to finish. I hope he plays great. Everything looks good. But I just think it's a great point that just because he got named the starter for Syracuse doesn't mean that we could look up in 3 months and Jake Merklinger or someone else is our quarterback.
Exactly.
So that was number 2. Good point. And number 3, you and I have watched every game multiple times, and there's more times than we can count that Heupel has dialed something up and a quarterback did not let it go. And let me say this, that doesn't mean it was a deep shot and someone's running down the field butt naked. I'm saying that he had designed it where it's a play action and you got Jacob Warren out here to the right, and if you throw it to him, it's maybe only a 5-yard throw, but he's probably going to get at least 8 yards because no one's around him. Exactly. And so if Joey just does that, takes what the defense gets him, capitalizes on the mental errors of the defense, and you do capitalize on big shots, it could be a little bit different style. But I will push back a little bit on your Jameis, on the famous Jameis, that the Tennessee won games last year because we didn't turn it over.
Yeah.
And played.
Yeah, don't turn it over like a defense.
We played small ball. We played small ball plenty. And so you either got to make the big plays if you're going to make a couple of mistakes, or you can't make the mistakes and not make the big plays because we're not going to be probably good enough in the running back and to play small ball again. And the other thing is too, Kyler, when you play small ball like we did last year, you're usually not as fortunate as we were. And I'm not taking anything away and say that we got lucky. I'm not taking anything away from the coaches or the players. They made the plays. They made the play calls. But when you play small ball against Alabama, like we had to Chris Brazzell and Nico had to clutch up on the 3rd and 6. Yes, or Jamad McCoy had to go and make a one-handed pick. Will Brooks have to make a shoestring tackle. Your margin for errors are so much smaller. Oklahoma, we played as much small ball as you can get, and we won. You go to Arkansas and you try to do it again, and you get upset on the road. So we were very fortunate to win the close games. Well, not fortunate, but I just don't want, if you can get away from it, like you don't want to always be playing close, tight, small ball games, because then it's like one year the ball's going to bounce your way, the other year it might not.
I completely agree with you. And I just made the statement as like, hey, this is not something we're used to. Like we are used to playing small ball if we need to. If we have success in the quarterback position, we can play it that way. What we're not used to as fans watching is a guy who's a gunslinger who's going to throw it, and he's going to throw it no matter what. If there's one-on-one, he's throwing it. Could it be a pick? Yeah, technically. But I think that's something that we're going to have to get used to. Like small ball might not cut it unless Heupel's really like pulling the reins on him a lot, which I mean, he could also do. But yeah, I mean, I think like what I said earlier with the second string guys being able to play or whoever it might be, like I always thought, and I think you agree with me, like the biggest downfall of Pruitt was his inability to be like, this guy ain't good enough. Let me put in somebody else, especially at the quarterback position. And it's just like, dude, you got like you're just going to let this ride? You're going to let this guy ride it out as he's just like absolutely doing the worst that he could possibly do out in the field? I don't get it. Like, put somebody else back there, start running the ball more. I don't know, do something different. But Heupel's just, I mean, he's just a better coach, dude. He's a smarter coach. He understands offenses more, and he knows football more. I mean, the way that he plays the game, the way that he adjusts when we get into those dogfights, like that's what makes the difference.
Yeah, I don't want to get talking about Pruitt too much in this, but I remember you and I having conversations, and it was like what was first, the chicken or the egg? And it's like, are you more upset with Pruitt because he keeps riding with JG, or are we that bad behind JG that you can't replace him? It's like they tried to replace him with JT Stroud, and maybe was Brian Maurer? I forget who it was that we tried to replace him with.
He was around that time. It might have been after, I think.
Yeah, it was something around those lines, but I just remember going back and forth and saying, JG is this brutal, you can't play him. But then I would sometimes try to defend, which is embarrassing to say, Pruitt and his coaching style, or his, now I feel like I have to say this. I defended his scheme and how well they played on defense from time to time, or how hard they played. I did like that he tried to pound the rock, take shots on offense, but you can't defend him and say he's got to bench JG. There's someone behind him. If you don't bench him, you're going to lose your job. It was his job to bring someone in that was better, and he never did.
Exactly.
Exactly.
One of Dooley's downfalls, didn't bring in the guys that he needed to for when guys left, and he just wasn't able to. I mean, dude, the year I got recruited, there was 5 offensive linemen in my recruiting class, including me. The next year, 0. I was a freshman 2 years in a row. It was awful. Talk about holding fucking bags all fucking day.
Oh, you're talking about the year that he signed like 11 DBs and no linemen?
No linemen.
Hey, that's kind of nice, though. No more competition coming in.
It didn't matter. What are you talking about? It doesn't fucking matter. Hold this bag, freshman. What the hell is this?
Hey, maybe he would have brought someone in that would have eventually taken your spot.
Please.
All right, I'm almost done with this quote. I'm about to, and you can go ahead and.
I mean, geez, must be a long one. Goodness, this guy. We're 22 minutes in. He doesn't even have his fucking quote up.
Well, I did it, and then I wanted to add to it, which will all make sense here in a second. Anyways, I'm excited about QB1. I felt like this was the way that it needed to go the whole time, but. Yeah. You got to see it. It's his opportunity. Let's see how he runs with it and does it. Okay, Syracuse, talk. And I know that I've probably done a little bit more background on Syracuse.
Yeah.
But just filibuster here for about 3 minutes. Let me finish this, and then I'm ready.
No, I think I always love these first games of the year where we play like an ACC opponent, and it's, they're middle of the road, and it's kind of okay, let's get our feet wet, but it's not a freaking Austin Peay that you're playing. It's a Power 4 team. I think this is a win for us. That's how I put it down, because I'm like, listen, guys, at this point, even if the offense isn't up to snuff, I still think our defense is going to be good. We still have our defensive coordinator, Tim Banks. We still have 8 guys on the defensive line that have played in the past. We still have 3 or 4 guys at linebacker. We still got 5 or 6 guys at DB that have played. It's kind of like, all right, hey, we lost probably, 2 or 3 like really important dudes on defense, but we still got a lot coming back. So that gives me faith that the offense can kind of experiment a little bit in this game, try and get their feet wet as they play through it. But Syracuse is also, they're lacking experience where we have it. They don't. Like, that's what's going on their team. They just don't have a lot of guys coming back this year. And I mean, we're thinking playoffs. I don't think Syracuse is thinking playoffs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they're like, let's get a good bowl game.
So let me start by saying, yes, I agree with a lot of that, but let me tie this quote in, and then I'll jump into Syracuse. So I had not seen this movie. I still have not seen this movie. I probably need to at some point. It was 2019, and the Titans were about to go play the Patriots. And it's when we ended up going up there, winning, kind of ending the dynasty, Tom Brady's last game. Tom Brady put out a video, and it was a video and a compilation with the Lion speech from Christopher Walken from it's Pool Hall Junkies is the movie. And I think I maybe heard the quote one time in passing, but didn't really pay attention. But it was really, really cool because you could hear the quote in the background, and it showed Tom Brady. And then when it says the Jackals, it shows like Jarrell Casey and a couple other Titans players. Like, hey, they're coming. Well, then the Titans go up there and beat him. Yeah. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I forget who it was. It may have been Taylor Lewan or someone else. Flipped it on its head and was like, hey, the Jackals came and got your ass. And so I always thought that was really, really cool. Well, then that got me into listening to the quote. As I've told multiple times, I still listen to plenty of music when I'm working out, running, or mowing, but I do have a list on YouTube where it just runs through all these different motivational talks or speeches. And those are what really get me juiced now, like when I'm working out. And so I heard it, and I said, this ties in perfectly for the Syracuse game. And I'll tell you why. But the quote is, and it's a longer quote. You can Google it. But it's he's basically picturing and talking about a lion who's just sitting in the heat in the middle of Africa, and all these little animals are coming around, giving him a hard time. And then it says, till one day that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody. And then it's like, that's kind of it. And there's a little bit more. And then it says every once in a while you have to show the Jackals who you are. And I think this is perfect for Tennessee is you are the better team. You are a 2-touchdown favorite. This is not Virginia a couple years ago because Virginia was dealing with a lot of stuff. They're not a good football program. But I can tie this back to NC State of last year. And I know personally how I felt going in that NC State game. I was a little worried. I remember having multiple phone conversations the week of the game. And I'm saying, hey, they got Grayson McCall, played a lot of football. He's a good quarterback. They've got, they got a couple receivers, Casey or Conception, who's not there anymore and transferred to, I think, Texas A&M. But there were people, and I'm nervous. I'm worried. I'm like, I don't know what to expect. Like Nico starting for the first time. What are we going to look like? And then you look up, and it's 52-10.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I never was worried about losing the game, but I was still just a little worried. Maybe it was early on in the season that I was a little bit worried. And then I just sit and think, I'm like, I'm not that worried about Syracuse this year, and maybe it's because of North Carolina State, but it's very much that same thing as Syracuse and Virginia. Syracuse and North Carolina State are respectable, but you got more dogs. You got more Lions than they do. Oh, yeah. And sometimes you got to get up and show these Jackals who you are, and don't play around with these guys. Put them out early. So that's exactly. So that's the quote for week 1. That thing almost, as you can tell people, it fell on me when it started. So hopefully it doesn't start again or fall again, but I'll try to.
Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, boy. Oh, gosh.
Freaking junk removal needs to get that stand out of there.
Well, what I found out was I have it. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not like anyone's going to read it anyways. I've already read it to them. But anyways, it's there. Okay, so here's the deal about Syracuse looking into it. Oh, and by the way, one small little tidbit. I don't mind that we play these neutral site games. I know people get annoyed with them, and they would rather have this game in Neyland. But then it's like, okay, well, if you have this game in Neyland, are we going to go up to Syracuse and go to New York one year with a home and home? Like, I don't know how beneficial that is. I don't mind these games, and I do think it is good for recruiting. Our brand is in Atlanta. Our brand was in Charlotte, North Carolina a couple of years ago. We just got David Sanders from the Charlotte, North Carolina area.
Mhm.
We got a 5-star Mike Matthews from the Georgia area. It's really nice to be able to pitch and say, hey, instead of you guys driving 3 or 4 hours to Knoxville, but I know
I
that
just think everybody wants to be able to go to the game.
I
mean,
just
that's
know
why.
What's that?
Everyone just wants to go to the game. That's why they want it here. It has nothing like that is it. That is the only reason. There's not like other factors that go into it. They're just like, I want to see him. I want to see him in person as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get that. Totally understand. It doesn't bother me though.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so Kyler, here's the deal with the Qs. Okay, so I went and I did 2 things. I went and looked at their schedule last year, and it was a little bit more surprising to me. Like my knowledge of Syracuse, and I know they had Kyle McCord last year who had transferred from Ohio State. I was never very impressed with him at Ohio State, but he did play better at Syracuse than I was expected last year in some games that I watched.
Yeah.
But they had some pretty good wins last year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had maybe like a questionable loss or two. We don't know what Tennessee's necessarily going to look like. You and I can basically go through and name just about everybody on the roster, but that still doesn't – we still don't understand what the team's going to look like. So there's no reason I'm going to try to do a bunch of research on Syracuse because, A, I don't care, and B, even if I did do a bunch of research, it's not like we're going to know for sure. You can just gather the best opinion you can. I want to look at how they fared last year. Okay, so last year you beat Ohio in the starter. They get a really nice win in week 2 versus Georgia Tech, 31-28. Georgia Tech was a good team last year. I don't know if Haynes King was out. I don't know if they had injuries or what the case may be. Bad loss. At home, you lose to Stanford. You can't do that. Stanford's been awful since Christian McCaffrey's left.
Yeah.
Okay, you beat Holy Cross. You barely beat UNLV. I know UNLV was ranked at the time. Not a good football program, though. 2 common opponents. They beat NC State by 7. We beat NC State by 1,000,000. Okay. Then they played Pittsburgh. They got smoked by Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh, 41-13. Virginia Tech, they won by 7. Boston College, they lost. They go out to Cal, kind of a dogfight. UConn barely beat UConn, 31-24. So you see what I'm saying? I was very surprised by this. So a lot of ups and downs, like, oh, that's a good win. Oh, that's a bad loss. And then they ended up beating my Cam Ward 42-38 for their last regular season game. So that's a good win against Miami. I don't know where Miami's head was at the time and how many they have lost. I don't know how many games Miami had lost at the time. I don't know where their head was and their thought process was as a team of, hey, we're out of the big playoff dance. Are we really locked in?
Yeah, I didn't know if Miami would have won, would they have made it to the ACC championship or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They might have been out of it already because I think SMU only had 1 loss. Clemson only had 1 loss. And I think Clemson had beaten Miami. So it was like you, even if Clemson lost, which they ended up losing to South Carolina, they were still going to get in over Miami. So I think they didn't have that much to play for, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, and then they do play, their bowl game was Washington State, and they won 52-35. So that makes there's nothing from last year that makes me worried. Maybe I should say, oh, well, they played and beat some teams maybe they weren't favored to beat, but then they lost to some other teams. So maybe they rise to the occasion and then they're not mentally there. But once again, nothing there that worries me. Then I went, and the only other thing that I cared about is who's our quarterback. It's the most important position on the field. And so I said, let me see what they have. They have Steve Angoli. And I'm like, that name sounds somewhat familiar. Well, I found out he was from Notre Dame. And he was the backup for Riley Leonard at Notre Dame, went to Syracuse, or he's transferred to Syracuse now. I was like, okay. He didn't stay at Notre Dame, so they brought someone in that they look at as better. So that tells you a little something. It doesn't necessarily mean everything. He can still go out and have a good year for Syracuse. And then I watched – there were actually some highlight tapes from him. I looked at his stats, and then I watched his highlights from when he was at Notre Dame. Basically, every game that I was watching highlights from, it was a blowout. And and he was in the game because they pulled Riley Leonard. He did play early on in one regular season game, maybe Wake Forest it might have been, and then he played against Oregon State in their bowl game because I guess Riley Leonard was sitting. I'm going to tell you this, Kyler. I thought he was fine. Like, I thought he did some good things. I thought he had some good accuracy. He kept his eyes downfield really well. He's not overly mobile, but he can semi-escape a little bit. He's not a massive – he's not just a straight statue. But there were some nice balls and some nice plays and nice placement. And so I thought that he was a decent quarterback. But it was nothing that made me worried about, oh, this guy could go out, put a team on his back, and upset.
I mean, they had a better quarterback last year. I mean, in every way you look at it, Kyle McCord was a starter at Ohio State that took the team to, I think, 11 wins. Like, it's like they had a better quarterback last year, and you saw how their season went. So
it's a great point. It's a great point. I wasn't even thinking about that. Maybe because I just wasn't a huge Kyle McCord fan when he was at Ohio State. I thought he was overrated. But anyways, it's a very valid point. So anyways, for my thought with Syracuse, it's very much of the little bit of research that I've looked at and kind of looked into. Like, this is one of those where Kyler and I say it's not about the opponent. It's about Tennessee and how Tennessee plays. And so if Tennessee goes out and plays – I'm not going to say turnover free. I think you can give one away, but if you got one turnover and a few penalties, don't let it get 10, 11, 12 penalties, maybe 4, 5, 6 with one turnover. I think you still handily win the game because I think the D line and defense as a whole, kind of like they did against North Carolina State, could just be very overwhelming for Syracuse. And then I'm always going to think we're going to be able to run on people. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to run on people with Heupel as our coach. We've led the SEC in rushing, and that's going up against the likes of Texas A&M's defense when they were really good, going up against a Georgia defense, an Alabama defense, a Florida defense, whatever the case may be. So I'm not worried. I'm very excited. I am much rather – watch this, like you said, than an Austin Peay or somebody else.
Yep.
That's pretty much all I have. We can go ahead and click down to season prediction. I am saying that Syracuse is a win. So I'll let you go ahead and take it and kind of give me your thoughts on the season prediction.
So yeah, just going through everything. I mean, one of the biggest things for teams that it is more apparent now than ever with the college football playoff is your schedule matters so much. Like, when you're playing these teams, which teams you're playing. I mean, Indiana last year were in the college football playoff because of their schedule. Like, it makes a difference who you're playing. So looking into it, trying to look into who we're playing and maybe who they are playing before we play them, when the bye weeks are, I think that makes a big difference. So to start the season, your first 5 games, so you got 5 games before the first bye, you got Syracuse and ETSU, okay, your first 2. Both wins. ETSU will be a cool one to see second stringers in and see what they can do. And then Georgia. You got the big dog. Here's the issue with Georgia. Their first 2 games are Marshall and Austin Peay. Okay? I don't think Georgia will run half of their plays in those games. I mean, why would I open up the offense? Why would I even show things on defense? Back in 2015, when we played Oklahoma third game of the year, they had 2 cupcakes 2 games before. Their defense ran a 4-3 in both games and then ran bear versus us. They knew we don't need to run our actual defense that we're going to use for the rest of the year in these first 2 games, and we're not going to show them anything and make it more difficult for them.
this is just me nerding out a little bit. Had they showed any Bear defense the year before? Because I'm assuming you guys went back.
No, they showed it the year before. They'd always done the Bear defense. That is their identity. So we knew that they're faking us out. They're trying to run a 4-3. But guess what? We got to prepare for a 4-3. I'm going to put some plays in a little test that we do that are against the 4-3. So you guys are at least but that's one of the easier defenses to understand, I guess, in a blocking scheme. Then, hey, we're moving gaps here with the Bear defense. So it's just something teams will do. I think Georgia's going to do it, and it leans towards a loss for us. I mean, versus such a talented team and the fact that they don't have to show anything, it's gonna be tough to overcome that. Then you got UAB and Mississippi State before your bye. I think those are both wins. So I think we go into the first bye 4-1 with a loss to Georgia. We come out of that bye versus Arkansas. And I know you mentioned this last week with Arkansas about you called it last year. That was the game we didn't see coming that we ended up losing. I don't think this year Arkansas is that game. I think it's going to be tough. I don't think it'll be easy, but I think we win that one. Okay? I think the tough game this year is going to be Florida at the end of the year.
I don't know if that's surprising to anybody, though.
I think because, we've said 9-3-ish. I don't think we're going to be 8-4. I don't think there's 4 losses there for us. But Florida feels like that third one that could happen for us to make us 9-3, especially in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not the summer. It's not September and hot as shit, but it's still Gainesville. So I think Arkansas, we win. Alabama's tough. At Alabama, that one I like at the moment I got to put down as a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a dogfight last year at home, and I think for right now, between Alabama and Tennessee, you pick whoever's at home.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right now in this series. I think we beat the ever-living shit out of Kentucky. I looking at their schedule, I think they're 2-4 heading into our game, and Stoops might be fired at that point. So I think we beat the shit out of them. And I think we win versus Oklahoma. I think this might be the sneaky one that other people talk about, because before the rival, after a rival in Kentucky. But Oklahoma's schedule leading into us, literally 5-week stretch, no buys. They go Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss. Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee. We're the last one on that run. Okay? They got tough opponents before us, and I think that makes a difference. Their run is a lot tougher than ours. I would take Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky before playing them over Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss any day of the week.
Yeah.
So I think we end up winning that one. New Mexico, we have a bye after Oklahoma. So that invites hey, give it all you got. You got a week off next week. You got New Mexico State after the bye, win. And then Florida is where that comes in. I don't trust Billy Napier as a head football coach. I think DJ Lagway is very, very dangerous. And it's in Gainesville. I'm probably putting down a loss. And then I think we finish the year beating Vandy. So I think overall we're 9-3.
Yeah.
This season.
So I love the breakdown. I love the fact that you do look at who teams have played, what their stretch is, and you're kind of looking at it in an analytical way. not to say that I don't take that stuff into factor as the season gets going, and you're kind of looking at it and being like, oh, they just did this, now we're playing them. But I kind of look, especially to start the season, as the way that I gamble, and that is by gut. And I never want to think too much into it. There are times where I hope, thinking ahead, that it helps us. For example, hopefully Florida's season is completely off the rails by the time we go down there November 22nd. Whether Billy Napier's been fired, whether they're on a multi-game winning streak, or they've only, or they have a losing record, or if DJ Lagway's injured, whatever the case may be. But I am not going to think that way just yet, because you never know how the season folds out. And the way that I look at this is I think Tennessee this year goes 9-3. And I do have a sneaky feeling that best way to put this, I will not be surprised if we beat Georgia in Neyland. I don't love the fact that they have 2 cupcakes and they're not going to be beat up, and they're not going to really have been stressed, or they don't have to show stuff. But if I want to be positive and think about, that's going to be the first big test for them. How is Gunnar Stockton going to play in Neyland? You mentioned the Alabama game last year, and I completely agree with you that you take whoever's playing at home between Tennessee and Alabama right now. Neyland won that game for Tennessee last year. I think
Neyland won that game and the Florida game last year.
Yeah, yes. And I think if you're playing those away, you lose, and if you're playing neutral side, it's a toss-up. Not that it wasn't a toss-up anyways, because it was very much back and forth game between Florida and Alabama, but that's just how much Neyland plays to it. Even if you go back to 2022, and that's a Nick Saban coach team with a Bryce Young quarterback who is as cool as a cucumber and a great quarterback. I bring him up because Milroe's ass couldn't hit the broadside of the barn sometimes. Yeah. And that played into our hand and played into how Tim Banks played him defensively. But Tennessee had them shook in 2022 with Bryce at the helm, with some other veteran guys, and with Nick Saban still at the helm. So I'm picking Georgia as a loss, but I'm not going to be surprised if we win that. I will not be surprised at all. I cannot say that we are going to win and pick us to win that game until I see it done.
Yeah, you're right. That's the final monkey.
Yeah, we have not beaten them since you've been there, and when they've had Kirby, you and I've said it. I don't hold that necessarily against Coach Heupel because they have had the best run that they've ever had, and the level of talent they've had has been just ridiculous. So he has to beat them at some point, but I don't hold it against him that he hasn't beat them yet. So I think that's our first loss. UAB, we win. Mississippi State is one of those that I kind of want to be like, I'm a little nervy. Maybe it's a night game. Maybe they're playing for all the marbles. They're going crazy. It's beginning early of the year. Everything that I said against Arkansas last year, the only difference is I think Arkansas had enough to compete. I just don't think Mississippi State has enough. You and I like their quarterback that they brought in last year. If I'm not mistaken, he's transferred out, like he's gone. Yeah. And so hold on real quick. I'm so sorry to do this, but give me a second.
Who are you calling?
Megan.
Hey, Coach Hype, listen, I'm making some picks here. I need you to give me some insight.
Yeah. So the middle console, where I put my wallet sometimes down, it's like knee level, and they slide back and forth. It's that long little slit.
This is real life here.
Wallet there, and then forget about it.
This is what we got.
Yeah, it's on the right side over there is where I put your. Okay, talk to you in a little bit. Bye. All right. Sorry. Anyways.
Mississippi State.
Yes. So I would maybe be a little worried and a little scared and think that could be the Arkansas this year. But once again, I just don't think they have the horses that Arkansas did last year. Not to say Arkansas was good last year, but they clearly had enough to play with us and beat us. I think Mississippi State's just that much down in the dumps and just doesn't have the talent. Okay, So we win there. We come here, Arkansas. We're getting our get back against them. I think Neyland will be absolutely bananas. I think we beat them. Sam Pittman, I know you like him. I do think he's a good coach, but I think it's over for him this year. Then we go to Alabama. It's away. You've already said everything. I'm picking the home team on that one.
Kentucky.
I do have one more thing to say actually about Alabama. I'm going to continue to pick the home team on that one. But that game 2 years ago, when Joe went down there and played fantastic the first half, and we went into the halftime with the lead, I still don't think that the home field affected our team. I truly do feel like some of the ref and home cooking there was pretty brutal. And I try not to be that guy to be like, damn, refs are always against us. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that. But Heupel had them boys dialed, and we almost.
Yeah, I think there was some execution issues in the second half too.
True. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so Kentucky. I used to be nervous. Go 4 or 5 years ago, I'd always be like, at Kentucky, we're their Super Bowl. I'm a little bit nervous. Now it's like, no, dude.
Not since Stoops almost went to Texas A&M for a week. Not since then. I'm like, this guy don't want to fucking be here, dude.
Yeah. Well, I just think we're their daddy. Just like we have our mental lapse against Florida, they have a mental lapse against us. So even there, in 2025, I'm not worried. 2021, 22, 2019, yes, I was worried going up there. Oklahoma at Tennessee, you've already brought it up. By November 1st, I don't know where Brent Venables is. I don't know what their quarterback and offense looks like. You would think it can't be any worse than it was last year with Jake Arnold and the other guy. But I know they have talent. But I'm going to pick Tennessee because the time of year it is, and I don't know where Oklahoma will be after that stretch. And we're playing at home, and Heupel doesn't really lose at home. So I think that's the edge there. New Mexico State, we win. Florida, we've already talked about it. Where will they be November 22nd? But I'll believe it when I see it. And then I think we beat Vanderbilt. So here's the deal. Overall, it's 9-3.
Same ones.
But here's my thing. Overall, I'm 9-3. If you really made me pick them, then I'm going to pick them just like you did, where we're going to lose to, unfortunately, the big three. You're going to lose to Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. That's like if I had to. But my thing is, with my 9-3, I do think we beat one of them. So this is my gut feeling, not if I had to put money on it or anything like that. But my gut feeling is that we will beat either Georgia, Bama, or Florida. I really think it would be either Georgia at home or Florida away because Bama at Bama's tough. But I think we do win one of those, and then we drop one that we're not supposed to. So that is my official 9-3 is we will get one of the big three, but we will lose one of the other ones that we shouldn't.
Yeah, which will be it's a lot more disappointing.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it is disappointing because you're like, oh, we got that big win, and it's like we got it, especially if it's Georgia and to start the season, and then you go out and drop one to Oklahoma or at Kentucky or at Mississippi State or just something crazy like that. Because you feel like, oh my gosh, we won that one. All we had to do was beat their ass, and then we're in the dance. But you know how football is, and it's the exact same thing. I mean, people call me crazy. Literally, I had got buddies like, dude, Reed, you're an idiot. We ain't losing Arkansas at Arkansas. They're terrible. And I'm like, we did.
Yeah. I mean, it happened.
Yeah, it happened. And so that's my final prediction. 9-3, one win against the big three, and one bad loss somewhere.
Yeah. Here's the one thing about some of the teams on our schedule and some of the teams in the SEC. There are guys, head coaching positions, that are a few losses away from really being like fired in the middle of the year, like really big time on the hot seat. And that's Arkansas, Kentucky, and Florida. All three of those, depending on what happens in the first 5 games, can really kind of dictate what's going on with that team. I mean, they could be falling apart. If any of those teams have 3 losses going into playing us, and everyone's like, there's no chance they're making a playoff, and the coach hasn't done anything since he's been there, it's like we could be playing teams on interim coaches. That's what I'm saying. You just don't know. So I think that is favorable for us as a schedule. But I mean, same thing we've been saying. I think 9-3 is very much on the table this year.
Yeah, and if you go 9-3, you're not making the playoffs because we're 24th. I guess maybe depending on how the losses shake out, and maybe if that team ends up not being as bad as you think, I don't know. But 9-3, you're probably not going to make it. But if you go 9-3 and then get in a bowl game and win it, and you got another 10-win season, I'm fine with that. I mean, I really am. I obviously want us to go to the playoff and win a national championship every year. But the guy, this is Heupel's year 5. He showed a lot in year 1. I'll just leave it at that. He showed a lot in year 1. He was awesome in year 2. Year 3 and 4, he was good enough to get us a big-time win on New Year's Day against Clemson. And then last year he made it to the dance. So if this is the year that we go 9-3 and we don't make it and we just get a big bowl win to go 10 wins, I'm still extremely happy with that.
Heck yeah. I mean, you'll go back in the history of Tennessee and show me a nice little 5-year beginning stretch like this. It's like this guy is still competing for double-digit wins every year.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I know it's easier to say now, but I know now when I'm looking at it from 30 feet, and then once all my emotions are out of it and it's January, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be pissed I'm going to be mad when we lose one of those. I'm going to be mad even when we lose the games I think we're going to lose, because they're going to show some random fan on TV, getting fired up and excited, and I'm going to want to go and beat his ass in front of his whole family, But it's just like, hey, Reed, then it's like, hey, Reed, calm down. This is football. That gentleman did nothing towards you. He's fine. He's probably a good man. But it's like, yeah. So it's like I'm going to be mad when all that stuff happens. But when I get back down and I'm centered, I'm going to say, hey, that's still a good season. That's a good year. Especially if he gets me one against the big 3.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that always sweetens the pot. We went a long time without getting any versus a big 3. So,
yeah. Go Vols! Hey, sometimes you have to show the Jackals who you are.
Let's right.
Go. Let's
go. Game week, baby.
Talk to you later.
All right, brother. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. If you're listening, rate, review, download, re-download. Follow us on all those listening platforms. Follow us on social media. Everything's description and below. Guys are the best fans in the world. So excited for this season to start. I can't believe football is back. And as always, go Vols.